A phone call in the middle of the night. A diagnosis nobody expected. A child buried before their parents. If God is real and God is love, why does He let this happen? It's the question that breaks even strong faith, the one prayer nobody wants to pray. Tonight, we don't offer easy answers. We go straight into the Bible's most honest book to find out what God actually says about suffering. This isn't a new question. For thousands of years, people have looked at pain and asked, where is God in this? Some walk away from faith entirely. Others force a smile and pretend it doesn't hurt. But the Bible doesn't ask us to pretend. It gives us an entire book built around one suffering man's raw, unfiltered questions. And it starts, surprisingly, in a perfect garden. In the beginning, there was no sickness, no funerals, no sleepless nights of grief. Genesis describes a world where God walked with Adam and Eve in the cool of the day, and everything He made was called good. Suffering wasn't part of the original design. It wasn't hardwired into creation. Something else broke it, and that something changes everything about how we understand pain today. That something was sin. When Adam and Eve chose to disobey, they didn't just break a rule, they broke the world's connection to its source of life. Thorns entered the ground. Death entered the story. Suffering wasn't God's plan. It was the consequence of a broken relationship. And ever since, every human being has been born into a world groaning under that fracture. So why didn't God just stop it? Because love was never meant to be forced. A world where humans couldn't choose wrong wouldn't be a world of love. It would be a world of puppets. God gave freedom, knowing it could be misused. Most suffering in this world doesn't come from God punishing people. It comes from a broken world full of real choices, some of them devastating. But what about suffering that isn't anyone's fault? For that, the Bible gives us Job, a righteous man who loses his wealth, his health, and his children in a single brutal season. Job did nothing to deserve this. He wasn't being punished. And that's exactly why his story exists, to challenge the easy idea that pain always means you did something wrong. Job's friends show up with theories. You must have sinned, they insist. God is punishing you. It sounds spiritual, but it's wrong. And God says so directly later in the book. Sometimes the most painful part of suffering isn't the suffering itself. It's well-meaning people demanding an explanation you don't have, when all you really need is someone to sit with you in silence. After chapters of questions, God finally speaks, not with a tidy explanation, but with a storm of His own questions. Where were you when I laid the earth's foundations? God doesn't explain every why. Instead, He reveals His vastness, His wisdom, His care over a universe Job could never fully see. Sometimes trust has to stand where explanation cannot reach. Here's what Job teaches us clearly. Suffering is not proof that God is absent, and it's not always proof of personal sin. Some pain comes from a broken world, some comes from our own choices, and some, like Job's, has no clear explanation at all. Only the invitation to keep trusting a God who sees more than we do. Centuries later, God does something no other religion dares to claim. He doesn't just watch suffering from heaven, He steps into it Himself. In a garden called Gethsemane, Jesus sweats drops like blood, begging His Father for another way. God, in human flesh, feels dread so heavy it nearly crushes Him. Suffering wasn't beneath God. He chose to carry it personally. Then comes the cross, nails, thirst, abandonment. Jesus cries out, my God, why have you forsaken me?" The same aching question suffering people have asked for centuries. This is the heart of the answer. God doesn't explain pain from a safe distance. He entered it, felt it, and bled through it, so that no one suffering alone would ever be suffering unseen. Paul later writes that God works all things together for good for those who love him. Not that all things are good, but that God can redeem even the worst chapters. Suffering can grow patience, deepen compassion, and strip away the shallow things we used to trust. Pain is never wasted in God's hands, even when we can't yet see what it's producing. Think about someone in a hospital waiting room tonight, or a mother staring at an empty chair at dinner. The Bible doesn't hand them a neat explanation. It hands them a God who wept at Lazarus's tomb, who suffered on a cross, and who promises to one day make it right. Whatever you're carrying, you're not carrying it in front of a distant, indifferent God. So why does God allow suffering? Because love requires freedom, because the world is broken, and because some pain has no easy answer this side of eternity. But Revelation promises a day when God will wipe away every tear and death will be no more. If tonight's questions felt personal, stay with us, because next time we open another question the world is afraid to ask.